The 137th Psalm actually deals with that. It says, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, and there we wept when we remembered Zion. On the willows there we hung up our harps. For there our captors asked for us songs, and our tormentors asked for mirth, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion. How could we sing the Lord's song in a foreign land? The Levites were the tribe from which the musicians came. And their job, they were born and bred to make music. And so while everybody else was out, raping and pillaging the countryside, their job was to go to the temple and be the priests and the musicians for the worship when they came. So when people would go to places like Tijuana to build homes, they couldn't go because they had to be at the temple the next day to make music when people came back for worship. But in the scripture that we heard, it said that the Levites had been captured by the Babylonians, and they had been taken out of the temple and been taken to Babylon. And when the Babylonians realized, oh my gosh, we've got the musicians, the ones who sing all of those religious songs in the temple. Let's have some fun with them. Sing us one of those songs that you sing in the temple. And there the Babylonians were in a foreign land. And so they took their harps and they just hung them up. And their tambourines, and they threw them down. They said, how can we sing the Lord's song? We sing in the temple. We sing in Little White Chapel where we know the acoustics and we have our microphones set up. How can we sing the Lord's song in a foreign land, not out and not just in a foreign land, but to entertain people? We lead people in worship. We don't entertain them. We are not only violated, we are humiliated because we've been taken out of our place of worship. As I have grown older, I've sung in a lot of places all over the world, and I've sung a lot of really crazy songs, most of which I can't sing in church. But I have gotten to the place where singing to amuse and entertain people is harder and harder for me to do. When I sing and when I play, I tend to go for songs that have a story or a moral or that leave people differently than when they started with me. I've sung a lot of high notes and I've sung a lot of loud notes, and I'm at this point in my life, I'm not particularly impressed with what my voice can do or what other people's voices can do to show off, to say, this is what my voice can do that yours can't. I think that's a waste of time. I think that if people don't sing to witness to who they are and the glory of God, they're wasting their gifts. I love taking the deep breaths and raising my voice and expanding my lungs and feeling like what it feels like to sing, but I don't need for people to sit still and watch me do that. Increasingly, as this world becomes more diverse, as you shared so eloquently in your communion meditation, things become more uncomfortable. And they're going to continue to become more uncomfortable until they become comfortable in some heightened state of realization. Increasingly, each one of us, like those Levites, find ourselves in foreign lands. My mother, I was talking to her right before the service started, and what we have always done, she's living with my sister now, but when I go home, we stay in her house, even as they're getting rid of all the stuff in her house. But we always, on the last day I am there, change her bed and change my bed because she anticipates that we will have one more night to stay in her house, even as they're selling all the stuff around her. Today I called her and I said, "How are you, Mom?" She said, "Your sister sold my bed." She's in a foreign land, permanent, you see. Even though the house is the same house. When I was in high school, I was that dark wunderkind in the Glee Club. I was the only black guy in my Glee Club. And I was welcome to go and wear that blue jacket and participate in all of those things that our Glee Club did. And the other guys in the Glee Club were my friends. But when it came time to go to the music director's house to hang out with my friends and celebrate, he let me know that I was less than welcome because I was different. So even though I was with my friends, and even though we all knew the same music, all of a sudden I was singing in a foreign land. You see what I mean? When I got to college, and our amazing Glee Club toured the South, and we all had roommates, and we all stayed in all the hotels, and we were kids away from home, and we were on the road. I couldn't stay with my friends, even though we sang on stage together. I couldn't sing with them. I couldn't stay with them because we were in the South during the Civil Rights era. And so my relationship with my friends, who I sang with every day, kind of got weird. We were in a foreign land, singing the same songs. Now you may look at me and go, "Oh, Will, that was a half century ago, you're so old." Things have changed. We have grown. We can lighten our skin if we don't like our race. We can make our eyes back in our head now if they bug out and we look too ethnic. We can relax or curl or add hair to our hair. I could have come in tonight with extensions. We can get smaller noses. We know some really famous people who almost make their noses disappear. We can get bigger lips. We can get smaller lips. We can have bigger or smaller, whatever we want on our bodies. And that's fine. Anything for enhancement. Anything for beauty. And yet, as we follow the saga of people like Caitlyn Jenner, we find ourselves taking sides. We find ourselves in a foreign land. This man who has been a hero and people worshipped him and wish they looked like him, as he's taken this journey to realize herself and become who she feels she was meant to be, all of a sudden it feels creepy to some of us. It feels unnatural to some of us. We haven't gone anywhere, but we're in a foreign land. You see what I'm saying? The scripture that I read says, "How can we sing the Lord's song in a foreign land?" It seems to me that Jesus calls us to do just that. As the world changes and becomes increasingly uncomfortable, you and I have to invite the Duggars to our table. We have to work on finding the right words to say to people when we want to say, "You stupid!" We have to, what is that piece? What are those dots I can connect from me to you that will include you at the table? It seems to me that in the 11th chapter of the book of Matthew, there is a scripture that we all know. And it seems to me to answer this question: how can we sing the Lord's song in a foreign land? Jesus answers that question like this. He says, "Come unto me, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, And in doing that, you will find rest unto your souls.